Basketball fans out there, welcome back to another episode of Tate's Take. Tate's Take, episode 41. Appreciate everybody for joining us you know what this is, of course, by now. We like to call this the most entertaining, the best, the most informational, and the most educational basketball content in the form of a podcast on the planet. Remember to go and follow on social media at Tate's Take Hoops, TATESTAKE. HOOPS hashtag where basketball lives. And remember that you can find the podcast anywhere that you find your favorite podcast, that being iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Red Circle, Stitcher, streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube and all that good stuff. So I want to move forward because I've been trying to, work some things out, trying to book some different guests. And I'm really happy about the one that I booked on today. Because I've been knowing this guy for quite some time and being in a lot of the same rooms and areas and press conferences and so forth. And I just absolutely love his work ethic. And so I'm glad that he had the opportunity to come on with me today. And I'm sure that my Yellow Jackets fans will definitely love this one as we're going to talk about some Georgia Tech basketball. So without further ado, let me make sure I'm doing my part properly and bringing him on, none other than Ken Sugiura, the beat writer for Georgia Tech basketball and really athletics in general. Make sure that you give him a follow for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, by the way. Give him a follow at K Sugiura AJC. That is at KSUGIURA AJC. Don't ask me to do it with my eyes, Ken. How are you?
Hey, doing well. How are you, Deshaun?
Oh, man, I'm outstanding. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And obviously, we're going to talk some Georgia Tech, but I kind of wanted to dive into things right out the gate with some news that came down on earlier today, just to kind of get your general thoughts on it. The NCAA tournament, the NCAA has decided that they are going to play the tournament in Indianapolis in a bubble. Not really sure if they're going to be fans there or not just yet. What are your overall thoughts on that? Because at one point, and I think this was Coach K's idea of talking about, I think all of the teams deserved an opportunity to play in the tournament. I'm not sure I agree with that one, but all of the teams that will be participating in the tournament now will be playing in the same space. What is your thoughts?
That makes sense. I mean, I think maybe you almost even have to do something like that, where if you're going to have a tournament and you need every team healthy, you got to have them in the same environment and make sure they're healthy. I mean, obviously, the way the tournament normally works, where there's 16 sites and everyone goes home and comes back. I mean, you're bound to have team A can't make the Sweet 16 because they're under quarantine, and you for a lot of reasons you really want to avoid that. So I think that's a smart move. Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of logistics to figure out beforehand, but yeah, it seems like the right way to go.
And just to make sure that I am transparent with this, and I don't want the people to think that we had conversations off the air that they don't know about. We did have a conversation. I'm wearing my Michigan State today. I know. I get it. I don't want to be like, what is this Michigan State thing? We're talking about Georgia Tech. And I'm just grateful to be able to have been covering Georgia Tech for like the last 4 or 5 years. And I would definitely want to give you your flowers now while you're here and letting you know that you do such a great job and have always admired the work that you've put together and that you've been doing even before I got to the radio station where I was previously employed at 92.9, but definitely want to let you know that I admire your hard work ethic, if not nothing else. So I'm looking at this schedule. Okay. It's starting with Georgia State at home on the 25th on Thanksgiving Eve. Okay. But following that, there's a neutral site game at State Farm Arena against Kentucky, on the road to Nebraska for the ACC Big Ten Challenge. I'm going to try and get through this as fast as I can. You get North Carolina at home, Florida State at home, Virginia at home, Syracuse at home, Duke at home, and for 3 back-to-back games in a row is where you will have at Virginia, at Duke, and Florida State. How in the world, Ken, is this team going to find a way to? I wouldn't presume that they're going to pull out all these games, but just putting that schedule together, it seems so wacky.
It's a bear. It seems like in the past few years, Tech has had some fortune with who they draw in the home and home. The way, I don't know if everybody knows this, I'm sure you do, Sean, but in a 20-game schedule with 15 teams, there's 4 teams you play that you play home and home with, and then the other 10 you play, or is it 5 and Anyway, I should know my math better. But anyway, you play a certain number of teams home and home, and then the rest you play once, and you kind of rotate your way through. And obviously, you want to avoid playing 2 games against Duke and Florida State among other schools if you can. And Tech is around both those schools and Virginia for that matter. And so it's a bear. It's kind of not ideal timing, for Tech in that, this is a year they've really pointed to, Josh Pastner has pointed to, is the year when they're going to make their tournament, bid for the tournament, their strongest bid for the tournament. And I think they got a team that's really good and should be good. But yeah, the schedule definitely doesn't do them a lot of favors. But I guess on the other hand, schedule strength and all those things. But yeah, it's certainly, as you say, a tough road ahead of them, and not even considering, the COVID stuff.
Sure. And this year, maybe last year would have been, I don't know, probably the best years that they have had, or would have since, the team went to the NIT and to the national to the NIT championship game, rather, call it that way. And it's just weird to me because I'm sitting here looking at the schedule and people are automatically going to write Georgia Tech off just naturally anyways, right? But there's always that one game. And I want you to tell me what game that you think that'll be this year. There's always the one, okay? North Carolina won the national championship the year that they lost in the very first game of the ACC. I think last year was Louisville. One year was Virginia came to town. What game would you say that it would be this year?
Boy, well, I'm sure a lot of Tech fans would hope it'd be the Duke game because they haven't beaten Duke in 11, 12 games, and like they're like 35-3 against or something crazy like that. But beyond that, they've generally played Florida State pretty well. Virginia, maybe they're down, and that's obviously a big win they'd love to have. And that's, I think, yeah. So Virginia and Duke are, I think, the 2 teams that Josh Pastner hasn't beaten. So, maybe you catch Virginia an off night and you help your stock out a little bit, or a lot, I guess, for that matter. But yeah, let's they got 2 shots against them, so let's go with Virginia. Not that I'm gonna run to my bookie or anything, but
all good, no worries. Just
let's throw it out there.
I'm putting you on the hot seat a little bit, I guess. And speaking of the hot seat, of course, I have to mention this. Not that I really want to, but it's got to be said. How hot is this seat getting for Josh Pastner? I mean, or should I phrase it as the pressure for him to produce for at least an NCAA tournament bid this season, because he's got 4 seniors and 2 juniors on the roster.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there certainly is some expectation and pressure, and he's put it on himself. I mean, he's I don't know if he's intentionally tried to buy time, but he's pointed at this year, the 5th year. He's talked so much, and I know you've heard it, Deshaun, about get old and stay old. And this is an old team, like you said, a lot of seniors and juniors on the roster. And so it's obviously, COVID and the contact tracing rules throw everything kind of out of whack. And you don't, I mean, as has been pointed out often, the NCAA is they're going to say any team that plays 13 games, which obviously is nothing, will be eligible to play in the tournament. And that kind of gives you an idea of what might be ahead. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if, let's say they go out and play poorly, for a variety, and don't make the tournament. I think for a variety of reasons, I don't think it's a hot seat necessarily, just for money reasons, and just they've got a good recruiting class. I think Todd Sansbury is supportive of what Josh Pastner's doing. I don't think anything would come of it necessarily, but yeah, I mean, I think this is a year. It's a year you've got to show something that and certainly last year they finished really well, but you've got to continue that and not take a step back.
Yeah, Georgia Tech 17-14 overall, 11-9 in the ACC, finishing 5th, won 9 of their last 12 games. There we've got Ken Sugiura joining us, the Georgia Tech men's basketball beat writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Remember, if you don't do nothing else, especially if you love buzzing around the city of Atlanta or anywhere else for that matter, at Ken Sugiura AJC, that is at KSUGIURA AJC. Trying to say that.
Thank you.
Hopefully didn't mess it up too much.
No, you got it right.
I don't want to throw too many numbers out there, and I think that there are some numbers that are significantly down for this particular team. Is it a fair assessment, or I'm sorry, is it fair to assume that Georgia Tech is no longer what you would consider all defense? I mean, they're always up there in the top of the ranks as far as defense, but when you start looking at, the points per game, they finished 10th last year. When you start looking at, how poorly they shot from three, I think they finished in 11th, and in a couple different areas, maybe free throw percentage.
Right.
Is it fair to assume that they're no longer, because they've got older players and they've got a little bit more offense? What are your thoughts on them being more than just defense?
I think that's a good question. I think that's a good point. Yeah, particularly like you mentioned, the Josh Pastner's first year when they went to the NIT, it was a really, really good defensive team. Ben Lammers and Josh Okogie and those guys defended the rim well and were active, but they, just not a very good offensive team. But yeah, and I think that really that continued the next 3 years, or next 2 years. And last year, particularly in the second half of last year, they really did start to show some more energy, and they kind of switched up their offense a lot in the middle of the season, and that ran a lot of high ball screen stuff, and I think they shot the ball better. And so you look at particularly someone like Michael DeVoe, who's a really actually pretty good ACC player, and a strong, has really strong offense. I think that's a reasonable thing to say. That I think certainly I think Pastner, as long as he's here, that the backbone of the team will be defense. But yeah, they're certainly scoring more and scoring more efficiently. So that's definitely something I think is reasonable to expect out of this team.
And I want to make sure I'm not butchering the first name. Last name is Wright. How do you pronounce his first name?
Moses.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have Moses Wright, who last year had a breakout season.
Right.
At least I think. And he came on to be somewhat as big of a surprise as we haven't seen since probably, it's at least front court player, since Ben Lammers transitioning from sophomore to his junior year. This year, he appears to be kind of like the lone proven front court player. He had 7 double-doubles last year. How big of a concern is that the front court is kind of so thin after James Banks' departure?
Yeah, that's obviously a big question. And obviously, Moses, for all his strengths, doesn't have the height and probably length, I guess, that James or Ben Lammers did before him. So if you put him at the back of that 1-3-1 and it can go be the shot blocker, he can do that. But maybe, you wonder if he can do it as well as his predecessors. But then behind him, there's Saba Gigiberia, who's a freshman from Georgia, from the nation of Georgia.
From the nation of Georgia,
yeah. When Brady made that clear.
That's always confusing.
Yeah. And then Rodney Howard from the state of Georgia, who's a transfer from UGA. So they certainly got a shot. And Jordan Mecca, I should say, is also another big, who's a freshman. They got a shot, and you would think of Saba and Rodney first, that they can help out, but they're relatively unproven, entirely unproven in Saba's part. But yeah, so I think Moses has generally gotten better at staying out of foul trouble, and I think Josh has also, to that point, has usually been pretty aggressive with playing guys with 2 fouls. But just in terms of minutes and that kind of thing, yeah, it's when you look at where is this team, could they have trouble? That's certainly one area you look at and you wonder. And certainly, obviously, if Moses gets hurt, then that's a whole other thing. But they're certainly deeper in the backcourt than they are in the front.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat of a fair assessment, or say it's been well documented that, this is a team that gets better as the league kind of gets younger. He's always preaching getting older. And now I think that's pretty much what he's got. And I was even going to ask you before we start getting into our quick release segment, where I kind of throw some quick fire questions your way, pretty much one word or yes or no type answers. Real quick before we get into that. What are the realistic expectations for a guy like Rodney Howard, who I'm not really sure how much of a fan? I can just imagine when eventually Georgia plays Georgia Tech.
Right.
When he catches that ball in his hands on every play, what that's going to be like for him. What are the realistic expectations?
I think, he actually started a couple of games at Georgia last year. He ended up not playing a ton of minutes. But I think, if he's coming in and spelling Moses and particularly on the defensive end, is protecting the rim and getting rebounds, I think that's probably a lot of what Josh Pastner would want of him. So, I don't expect him to go out and replicate James Banks by any stretch. But yeah, if he can come off and play, give you 10, 12 minutes or something like that, and get rebounds and block shots, then I think you're really, I think you're going to be happy with that.
Outstanding. And Ken, I think now is our time, so I can hurry up and get you up out of here so you can go eat some dinner. for our quick release segment. Again, if you want to elaborate a little bit more, that's fine. One word answers, yes, no, so on and so forth, and we'll go from it like that. How do you rate? First question. There's probably about 8 or 9 of these. First question: how do you rate Georgia Tech's new uniforms that they're going to put on display this year, from 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the most?
All right, I guess I'll give the what's the word, caveat that I'm not the target audience. I wasn't crazy about them. I put them like at a 4 or 5.
Okay. Georgia Tech finished 5th in the ACC last year in the 1920 season. Where do they finish this year in the 2021?
Man, it's interesting because obviously it's easy to hang the hat, and they deserved it to finish 5th. It was just the highest they finished since the 03-04 season. But there were 4 teams right behind them at 10-10, and another one at 9-11. So it's not like they were, above and beyond 5th. But certainly, 6th, I think, 6th or 7th, I think, and you hope that that's good enough to get you in the tournament.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. You've got the heart and soul of the team, the emotional leader of Jose Alvarado, Mike DeVoe, who last year was an All-ACC selection. Those guys actually combined for a third of the team's assists, steals, and over 60% of their three-point percentage, which is pretty impressive. When you combine that with 2 guys that are from here, one from Norcross High School, the other from Wheeler High School, both of them transfers from USC between Kyle Sturdivant and Jordan Usher. Where does Georgia Tech's backcourt rank amongst the best in the ACC?
Man, I'll equivocate here. I don't know enough about the rest of the league, in depth to give you a good answer. But, considering at the very beginning, at the very least, that you've got 2, all ACC caliber guys in DeVoe and Alvarado, certainly in the top third, I would think. And plus you say, I think, Jordan Usher finished strong last year. Kyle Sturdivant, I think, has a chance to be pretty good. I would, I'd feel comfortable saying top third.
Georgia Tech makes the tournament. There makes a tournament appearance if what?
Health is easy to answer. I'm not going to give that to you because that's what a coach would say. But I think. Well, gosh. This is kind of, I don't know. Hopefully it'll work. But I don't know if I've read this, but Josh Passer has had this plan because of contact tracing and because there's this rule or the guidance from the ACC or NCAA, which comes from the CDC, that if you, if you've practiced with somebody within the last 48 hours and they test positive, or you played against them in the last 48 hours and they test positive, you're basically your whole team's going to be out. And so Josh Passer is doing something pretty unusual, very unusual, that he's not going to have any contact practices. He's saying that may change, but that was his plan the whole year. So that no 5-on-5, no rebounding drills, none of that. No scout team versus off, the first string. So I guess if he's able to figure out a way to do that, then I think they've got a shot. But certainly it's a risk, but it's a risk either way. But if that works out, then you feel like they've got a pretty good shot, I think.
Who is the best? No, that's perfect.
Right.
That's perfect.
Slow release. That's why my shot got blocked. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Who is the best point guard in Georgia Tech school history?
I got to go with Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson.
There are a lot of really good ones. And Mark Price, I think about is it's really nothing to sneeze at. But yeah, it's hard to go against him, Kenny. I really love when a guy like Mark Price can come down on a fast break and everybody's still on the other end of the court and he still hits a 3, like pulls up for 3. I mean, it's so hard to go against that, but I think Kenny Anderson is the guy. Stephon Marbury, I mean, you've got so many good point guards, but I got to go with Kenny Anderson. Yeah, I've got to go with Kenny too. Last 2 questions for you. The first one, who should the Hawks draft in your opinion with the number 6? Oh man. Not an area I know a lot about. I've heard a lot. I'm sorry, I'm messing up his name. The kid from Israel. He seems intriguing.
Denny Avia.
Yeah. It's funny. I spoke with a very like someone who knows a ton about basketball in Israel. When James Banks was going over there, I think it was our podcast, I guess, but he was talking him up, and I've heard good things about him anyway. So let's go with Denny. But again, not an area I'm not terribly versed in.
Yeah. All good, no worries. Just picking your brain a little bit. Last question. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to hear LeVar Ball's mouth this week? I knew I'd get a smile out of you one way or another.
Yeah, he's it's funny. Yeah, I've had one interaction with him actually. I don't know if you remember, UCLA played Tech in China.
That's right. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and so his son was at the center of that, and he was there, and I was about to talk. Like it was one of those crazy things where like I was like, I need something to help me report this story out, and the Tech and UCLA were in the same hotel in Shanghai, and I'm like, what do I do? I don't know anyone in China. I don't know. I can't talk to police, and I walk into the hotel restaurant, and who do I see? but LeVar Ball. Like, oh my God! I prayed him and answered. And so I got like a word out of him before as we were leaving, but then like his bodyguard like cut me off, and that was it. But yeah, as compelling as he is, yeah, I'm not super anxious to hear more of what he has to say, but he's obviously raised a bunch of sons who play basketball really well.
Wow, the NBA dads even have bodyguards. Ken Sugiura, appreciate you for joining us, man. Remember that you can always go and follow. This dude does absolutely magnificent work. Ken Sugiura at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Georgia Tech men's basketball beat writer for them. Remember, give him a follow on Twitter at Ken Sugiura, AJC at Ken Sugiura, AJC. Thank you so much for joining me, Ken.
Yeah, my pleasure, Sean. Thank you.
No problem. And that was Ken and joining us. And of course, I got a good buddy of mine in Chadwick Phillips that's going to be coming on with us next year in a couple minutes. So just really wanted to give the people who really follow along with Georgia Tech and college basketball. And I know I brought on Tim Noy from who covers the beat for Notre Dame college basketball. We're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to get some people coming on talking about Michigan and Michigan State and maybe some Duke and some Carolina, some ACC, SEC, Pac-12, the whole nine, so that we can be able to fill the void and the needs of some of you out there who come here. You love basketball and you love to enjoy. Remember that you can always follow along on this podcast. We're getting ready as it looks like Chad is getting ready to enter the green room here in a minute. Remember that you can follow along on social media, all social media platforms at Tate's Take Hoops, TATES TAKEHOOPS, hashtag per usual, where basketball lives. And know that, I'd love for you to share this out. If you love good, basketball content, and I like to call it the best, the most entertaining, the most informational, and the most educational. Don't forget that one. Basketball content on the planet in the form of a podcast. You find it anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Again, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Red Circle. We stream live on Facebook. We stream live on YouTube, the whole nine. So come over here when you're looking for your hoops fix, and I'll try and get that out there for you. And for anybody that's paying attention and watching right now, leading up to getting ready to bring Chad in, if you have any thoughts on what you've seen in the NBA so far, obviously the big news of today in the NBA has been the trade for Chris Paul going to the Phoenix Suns. That is huge, really, really huge. I'm not sure why. I mean, no disrespect to Chris Paul. I really feel like the Phoenix Suns really gave up a lot in that, and maybe not like a ton of super credible talent that's seen the floor a bunch or anything like that. But nonetheless, when you throw in Kelly Oubre in there, it kind of makes me feel like as much as he's grown and really improved, that I'm a little bit surprised to see him in that trade along with umpteen other people. It's just a little surprising considering how much he's really improved and grown in different areas. And so just curious to know what you guys think about Chris Paul making a move now, becoming a Phoenix Sun. And I'm typically a little bit, I'm a Phoenix Sun guy. Everybody, I'm a diehard Piston. And I think there's a big difference between rooting and pulling for. I would never root for another team. I'm talking about slam dunk and you standing up there on top of the sofa or standing on the tables or get me angry enough to throw stuff at the TV or anything like that. It won't get to that point for why my like for the Phoenix Suns. I've just always had one of those Kevin Johnson type. I just like that team at that time, that 93, 94, Charles Barkley and was that Richard Dumas, I think, and Tom Chambers, that dude that dunked that thing on your head if you ain't watching out below. And so I just always kind of stuck with Phoenix. But, of course, diehard Detroit Piston fan. So I tend to pull for the Suns. And I'm happy to see Chris Paul in the uniform. Not sure that Chris Paul won't go out like many of the other NBA players have, which is without a ring. But he's certainly one of the best leaders in the game and definitely has shown it on the court. And I think that while I wouldn't say that I disrespected Chris Paul, I would definitely say that he made me more into a believer, especially in the playoffs, particularly that Houston series right out the gate with taking the Oklahoma City Thunder throughout the duration of the season, who was probably the most improved team in the entire in the entire NBA. And what he was able to do with them, especially from a leadership standpoint, what they were working with. Not that they were a bad team, but just things that I didn't expect. And they definitely finished a lot higher than I presumed. Got a couple guys that came in here and wanted to show some love a little bit, who are really, really huge fans of the show, and I really appreciate their contribution to the show every time that they get a chance. Matthew Maurer coming in saying it's NBA draft time. That's right, NBA draft taking place. You would think that I have the clock hanging over my head where I have, the hours and the days and the hours and the minutes and the seconds, just like the ball is finna drop on New Year's Eve, you know what I mean, for the NBA draft. And I'm really happy to be doing some stuff for the NBA draft and just really looking forward to this time of the year. My mom knows, my mama, she'll tell you right out the gate. Okay. If there's any other time that you don't bother this dude, it's on Selection Sunday when they're releasing those brackets. Okay. And it's on draft night. Okay. You make my food. My expectations. Come on, mama. She already know what it is. I need you to put that thing in the microwave. Matter of fact, you know what? I got 2 big brothers that's close to about 300 pounds, so that's not a good idea. Put that plate up on top of the fridge where they can't reach it and get to it. And then hopefully I can have a little something to snack on shortly after midnight, because when the draft is on, don't bother them. I'm not answering no phones. I'm not doing none of that stuff. And I'm really excited and looking forward to everything that's going to come with the NBA draft that's going to be taking place and just somewhere close to right around 48 hours or so. So I'm really looking forward to that. And remember, before I bring my guy on, because he's coming in here, he's going to come with some energy. This is my dude, a really good friend of mine. We go all the way back to Gardner Middle School. Like, we go all the way back to middle school, bro. Like, that's a real thing. Before I bring him in, I want to make sure, as you guys can see it down there on the ticker down below, that you can always feel free to comment as well with your questions and opinions or anything else. And make sure that you subscribe to the show. Make sure that you tell a friend, tell your mama, tell your grandmama, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody, family members, everything and everyone in between. Now, without further ado, I want to bring my dude up in here, man. This dude is outstanding. Y'all going to have a blast with this dude. He brings such good energy, positive energy. That's what we need in our lives right now, man. My dude, Chadwick Phillips. I'm just calling him Chad, man. When you go back with folks, you can shorten the names up. You know what I'm saying? If he call me Sean, I'm going to be like, ain't too many folks outside of family members that can call me Sean, but I consider him a family member. And you know he a family member if he got that Spartan on him.
Oh yeah.
If he got the Spartan, yeah. There you go.
Dealing with sports, man. I had to come in looking like I'm suited up to hoop. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, my dude, Chadwick Phillips, man, musician, mentor, former athlete. Remember to follow him. Give this dude a follow. Dude is going places, and I know that for a fact because he's already going places. Give him a follow on Twitter at avant-garde. Say it for me.
Yes, at avant-garde is. You had it. You had it.
Okay, avant-garde is. I just wanted to make sure I was on point.
Some people French, you know?
ABATGARDEIS. Yeah, a little French mixed up in there. Also follow him on IG at Niles Got You, and on the website www.theavantgarde is his website as well. Bro, what's popping? It's been so long.
First and foremost, I'm super proud of you, man. I remember being in the hallways of Gardner. We go back to middle school, y'all. And so to see someone from the hometown shining like you are, bro, it's just, I'm super proud of you, happy for you, you know, and your cousins, Keith, Ricky, you know, Deshaun made it, y'all. Look at her. Look at your cousin shining right here, man. Just
basking in the glory, I guess you would call it.
Is that an MSU? Oh, you rocking an MSU hoodie?
Come on, man. Don't play with me, bro. Don't do that to me. Now you see, I don't know if you see my little
close.
I don't know if you see my basketball and my Sparty hanging over my shoulder.
Heavy, man.
Yeah, it's home, man.
Salute you, man. From Brody to Hubbard, man. We all.
Oh, no doubt, and I thank you for that and the kind words. And of course, we're gonna get into some of the stuff that you got going on. But I want to make sure that I'll be remiss if I didn't mention. Thank you for the praise, man, the accolades and the kind gesture and the compliment, dude. But it's not me.
You've always been a stand-up dude, y'all. Day one. You know what I'm saying?
Like steak sauce.
Day one, exactly.
But I definitely want to say this, man, first, that, you know, you said I'm shining. I'm not shining. We shining, baby. And that's what it's really all about, you know, and just trying to spread some love and some positivity and some optimism from back home, from the Big Apple to the pineapple, from the Golden State to the Frozen State. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, MC too. Hold up, man. Turn into, you know, I can put this in the next video, man. You know, we could be hooping outside and bam, it shows this. Then it's back to the, I don't know. He sound like an MC on the low, y'all. Sean, he got a little bit in him.
Don't buy the hype, man. Chad, let me ask you this, man. We let's take this thing anywhere you want to go. Let's start out with the music, man, because you've done some phenomenal things. I just saw the video that you put together. Forgive me, because I was trying to find a way to pull it up and reverse the screen for the people, and I was having some difficulties. But inform the people of what's out there and what you got popping, because I did get a chance to check it out, and it's all optimism and it's joyful.
Thank you, brother. So the song is called Reassure My Soul. To everybody out there, I am a hip hop artist. I am an entrepreneur. I own a company called The Avant-Garde. We put on concert productions that feature artists within the lanes of neo soul, R&B, real hip hop, spoken word poetry, live instrumentation. And I've been blessed to be able to work with artists like Mos Def, Rakim, Jay Electronica, Jay Dillis, people like so many incredible artists, Slick Rick. We can go on forever about that. But I'm an artist. I have an album called To Remain that I released last year. And the third single is called Reassure My Soul. Reassurance means to be reminded of. You're reminded of to be peaceful. You're reminded to be strong. You're reminded to be elevated and motivated and inspired amongst everything that's going on around you. It's people going through way more than you. So even during this pandemic, even during all of this unrest, you know, if you have a house, if you have food on the table, if you have food in your cabinet, you know, if you have enough money to pay your bills, if you focus on the simple things, you'll always feel rich, because there's so many things that you can be able to be thankful for. So that's what the song is about. And the video has a plot to it that I want y'all to really check out, because it'll make everybody, it's like a global soul search. You know, we all need that right now. So Reassure My Soul, y'all. Check it out.
Man, y'all make sure y'all go and check it out if you don't do nothing else. Follow this dude, man, because dude is like on fire right now. I've checked out the video that you have put together and everything like that. I just thought it was super dope, so super awesome. It kind of like restored me a little bit. I like to think we all kind of need that, especially with what's going on in the world today with Black Lives Matter movements and red versus blue and everything else. And it's just, it can get so messy, but there's only so many really positive messages, and a lot of people kind of sweep that under the rug and so forth. But you being a person that inspires me and has inspired so many other people, my family even more so, especially, I just think that you've really done a great job. And you even had some opportunities to do some stuff at some Minnesota too. You're based out of Minnesota, and doing some stuff at the Minnesota Timberwolves games
right now. Yes, sir. So this was at the beginning of the year. We wasn't even thinking of no pandemic, nothing. Like everybody, and I bet Sean, it was some stuff that you wanted to accomplish in the beginning of the year. You was able to. It was like 2020. Everybody's talking about 2020 vision. It's about to be on. So one of my major goals was to always have a song of mine played at the Timberwolves game. Everybody, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, big T-Wolves fan, and I go to the games. I know some of the people who's on the dance team, so on and so forth. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to send my single out to them and just see what's up. I have a song on my album called Coolin' in the Soda. This song is a tour guide through the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Is telling you about all the restaurants, all the places to have leisure at, just the town, everything that has to do with the flavor. So the people who run the entertainment section at the T-Wolves heard it and loved it. They hit me up and was like, we want to play this during the Celtics game. So I go to the game and I'm sitting back, like 30,000 people, and the song comes on, you know, and I see everybody just rocking to it in the arena. I was like, wow. Yeah. So, yep.
That's so, man,
it was incredible. And we had plans too. And then, you know, pandemic and so on and so forth.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's okay, because guess what? God is still blessing throughout the midst of it all, you know, despite pandemics and everything else. And I just, you know, I'm not going to do too much preaching or try and be that motivational guy and so forth, but I can attest to some things that I went through even myself. And I was one of the few people that really felt like, as sad as it is to say, and it's not a shout at anybody that lost somebody. I mean, I lost my uncle due to the COVID, but I was one of the people that had to go through something like the pandemic to make me get on my grind, which is another reason why you see this podcast and this broadcast here today. You know, I got put in a position where I'm looking forward to going to a couple different cities, Dallas and New Orleans, to go and cover some conference tournaments for March. I mean, dude, it happened in March Madness. I was like that. My world was like taken from me, but it went to show that you gotta tighten up, because things can be taken from you just like life, just that quick. And so, and it really messed me up, but I try not to. And ended up unemployed shortly after that. I ain't afraid to or ashamed to admit it. But what it did is it helped me work on the other areas of my life that I really needed, because I wouldn't have put as much urgency on it had it not happened. So when it came to that, I'm in a much better place mentally, in some ways, physically, emotionally, but most importantly, spiritually. Okay. And I'm just happy. And so and it took me to that when I heard some of your music, you know what I'm saying? And so if y'all don't do nothing else, man, go and check out my boy, not just because he's wearing green and white right now, but because the dude really got some skills, man. Believe that.
Yeah, appreciate that, Sean. And everything you just said, I can relate with too, you know, because we're living on an altitude of where we're doing what we love. We're doing our passion. You know what I'm saying? So with that, you create a lot of different opportunities for yourself. So in COVID, it's like the ground could be taken under you when it comes down to when you're doing passion-driven things, but that's when you get creative, you know? And so things are orbiting for me in the same way as you. And I was able to tap into some things that I wasn't paying attention to. And now I'm in a better place too as well, man. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Blessings, my brother, blessings. And I'm going to tell you something else, man, just based off of where we come from, this little city called Lansing, Michigan, dude. Like
what up, y'all?
The L, man, the 51-7, bro. The elbow, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no doubt. I like to think that they will be okay if I speak on behalf of the city and say that, dude, we're so super, you know, proud of you, happy for you, the things that you've been doing and just pushing. I think I seen you at a Famous Taco one day. If y'all know a Famous Taco, you can't possibly be from Lansing, but
right.
That was the last time I saw you, and you just got this light, you know what I'm saying? And it shows, you know what I'm saying? And it showed that day, you know what I mean? And it's just something that just kind of helped me throughout the course and the duration of my grind. And all this stuff is really about helping one another, man. So I really appreciate that. I want to switch it up just a little bit. you also do some working in the community where you're mentoring and working with the youth and so forth. What does all that entail?
So I have a program called Hip Hop History in the Arts. It's an art and life curriculum. Art in a sense of you have youth who are really into the arts, whether it's music, whether they want to rap, sing, act, do fashion, draw. But then it's like, how do we turn this into an absolute business? Like Deshaun right now, what you're doing and what I'm doing, we're making a business out of the passions that we had since we were children. You see? That's why it's so great to see you shine, because I know
10 years old, baby, 10 years old.
And it's like a lot of people aren't able to reach that. So since I'm there, I want to show these kids how to be able to get there. You see? Because when you live in a passion-driven life, you're always energized to do life. So, but on the flip side, you have to be able to speak to people. You have to be able to be respectful, respecting people, respecting yourself, carrying yourself the right way, knowing the business. So though, and education, making sure that you're educated, keeping your grades up, that'll open up so many opportunities. So when you combine those two, it's Hip Hop History in the Arts. 3 youth projects have been released out of it. If you go to bandcamp.com/hip hop history in the arts, you'll see all 3 of them. And I'm teaching right now a program called the Catalyst Artist Collective, where it's youth from the age of 14 to 24 who are serious about their career.
Wow.
And that's so great is this COVID thing is taken away so many opportunities from musicians and artists, period. They can't go to venues. They can't record in other studios. They got to get their own studio, but we're still providing a way for them to still flourish, for them to still elevate amongst what's going on now. So, yeah.
Man, dude, I'm like literally ear to ear right now. You know what I'm saying? Just happy I got my dude on, because you never know what's happening in the world, man, especially all the stuff going on right now with another brother. You know what I'm saying? So to see brothers doing some positive things out here in the community, living their dreams, knowing that dreams really do come true. People turning dreams into reality every day, and it's not going to be easy, but you just kind of have to press forward. There's going to be things. I talk to people where we come from all the time, and this isn't, hey, look at me, I'm the most successful guy. But you know, some people ask me, how do you do it? How does this happen? And it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody be able to do it, and nobody. But sometimes you got to take that little bit of something. You got to dedicate it towards something. You gotta, when you get to a point where enough is enough, it's one thing to be sick and tired, okay, but it's another thing to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. So we all kind of get to that point in our lives, and that's why I left and came here to Atlanta 15 years ago. And you mentioned Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I instantly got the chills, bro, because I know it's chilly here, but I know it's got to be like plummeting temperatures where you're at.
Refrigerator right now in the size of my place. It's not a game. I'm probably in the freezer, not even the refrigerator part. You know, when that air filters through the window, it's not. Your heat better be on 1,000 blast out here, because they got this thing called the polar vortex. I sound like a Mortal Kombat character, but it's actually when below 45, you stay outside past 5 minutes, it could be a wrap. So
no,
gotta move carefully. Like what JC say. Gotta carefully. So
I'm trying to tell you, dude, it sounds like it's so cold outside where you at. Like if you go to spit on the ground, it'll probably freeze before it hits the ground, probably something like that. You know what I'm saying? You were
just freeze right on your forehead. But
I know us bald head brothers, man, can only take so much of that. You got to put a cap on your head. At least that's how my mama sent me out the door to school every day.
You're thinking good, man. I gotta wait a little longer.
Oh, we kicking back on this thing, man. Chadwick Phillips, but we family, so I'm gonna call him Chad.
If people grew up with me, it's just Chad.
It's just Chad, man. Musician, mentor, former athlete. We're gonna get into that. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Avant-Garde is. That is at Avant-Garde is. You see it down there on the ticker. Also on IG at Niles Got You. The website www.theavantgardeis. Give this dude a follow. Thank me later. Hashtag thank me later. That's where we at with this. You were a former athlete as well. Okay. Track star. Okay. Basketball player. I mean, we grew up playing basketball. Now, you know, I was a little homie at that time.
I remember that. Yeah.
Hey, I was still 16, bro, when I got my driver's license. People about to learn a lot about me on this show. Okay. Because we always talk basketball, but I'm going to give them a little bit on the inside. I'm 16 years old. Sophomore in high school, just got my driver's license, okay? and I wore a size 6.5 shoe at that particular time. Okay,
Right.
so I was a short homie. You remember this? We go shoot ball, we do our thing. You know,
Yep.
that probably didn't have a lot to do with a whole lot, but I want to teach the people some things. You, in regards to you've played basketball,
Yep.
a track star. I mean, dude, you've done so much. You've accomplished so much. The resume is long. Who are some of your, I guess, whether it be mentors or just people that you kind of looked up to to inspire you within playing sports and or musicianist, and even more so, some of the guys that you looked up to on the basketball court?
Well, I'll say, I mean, on a Lansing tip, we'll go local first. You know,
Okay.
You know this guy, Kevin Lee.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. So hooping back in the day, you know, he was the man on varsity, like getting it in. You know, Squeak from Sexton. You know, DeVell Hoskins. So those were the guys who I looked up to in the city. And then you remember Ron Banks and Desmond Ferguson. They was before us. Shout outs to Ron Ferguson, Moneyball. So I had to take it to Lansing first.
Of course.
Bro, Kerry Kittles, man.
Kittles. Okay. New Jersey Nets. Okay. Villanova.
Right, Villanova on Gardner desks. Ask anybody. I used to rock one sock up and one sock down. I was playing for the Warriors. Remember the Warriors and Scales?
Yeah, of course. Orange and black, man. Stop playing. Is that a trick question?
So people, this is a team called the Warriors. Shout out to Coach McClain. Remember Spurs? Eminem Spurs?
Of course. Of
Them
course.
games that guy. Anyway. So, but Kerry Kittles used to be my favorite player when he was in college. Of course, Michael Jordan back in the day. But I really want to pinpoint on the Big East in like the early to mid 90s, man. Like Kerry Kittles, Allen Iverson when he was at Georgetown. There was a basketball player named John Wallace who played for Syracuse, and Ray Allen. They all were a part of the Big East, and they all were first team All-Americans, man. We used to watch them at lunch at Otto Middle School, man, and just be in awe. But other than that, I say, of course, Michael Jordan. You gotta salute to Jordan.
Got to, of course.
Kobe, man. Like the thing with Kobe that's so amazing, seriously, man, is how he overcame the adversities, man. I remember when he first got in the league, when he got drafted by Charlotte, and then he went to LA, you know, and he had to face so much because he was like the youngest in the league on like the biggest spotlight. And I remember when they played Utah, you know, in the playoffs, and you know, the air balls, you remember that. And people like, I mean, they said he was going to be the next one, but yo, he proved everybody wrong. It takes so much tenacity. It takes so much zeal, so much just hard work and dedication to rise past that. And he did it, man. So I got to salute Kobe Bryant, man. Yeah.
Man, of course. And it's so crazy with all this stuff happening because once the COVID hit, like I wasn't even over the Kobe stuff yet. Like I'm still feeling like I didn't even get my due diligence to mourn and grieve the way I really wanted to before we got hit over the head. Like it was forced upon us to kind of get over that in its own little way, which is weird enough already as it is. Dude, thank you so much, Chad, man, for joining me.
Yes.
I don't even have the words, but I want to give you your flowers. Now, we don't do that often enough as people. I don't care if it's black people, white people, whatever, what have you. I can say that because I'm half somewhere. But I'm just saying in general, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't do that enough, man. And I definitely want to be able to give you your credit. Much success going forward, my brother. I'm following. When you do something positive and something out here in the community and you getting it and you grinding and you hustling and you hitting the pavement, like, and I see that success in you. I feel like I just did something. Like, I feel like I'm a part of that. You know what I mean?
I gotta give you your roses too, Deshaun. Seriously, man. Like, we all are proud of you, man. For real. Like, everybody from your family to me, to the people in my family who knows you, to the city. Like, I'm just so happy for you. I'm glad that you're doing your thing in the field that you love, man, because a lot of people aren't able to do that, man. You made it happen. You have your own brand. I see that your logo right there.
Oh,
you got it right behind you. It's on the screen. Like, you're doing your thing, bro. And just seeing where you've been and who you've worked with, you know, like Rob Parker. Hold up. I know. Hold up real quick, man. I know we got to go. Nah, man. Man. The odd couple, Rob Parker, he's like one of your mentors, right?
Correct. Just spoke earlier, but you know what?
Remember to bring that up, man. He's one of my favorite people on television because he keeps it super 100, man. I can't wait to hear him talk when it's his turn, you know?
I'll definitely be sure to let him know, man. A mentor of mine, a great guy, a guy that kind of took me in under his wing a little bit, and showed me the ropes in some things. And I'm just happy to be able to build and establish relationships, because for the people who may not have a lot going on, in their life right now, they can be in Lansing, they can be in California, they can be on the moon, for crying out loud. But everybody wants to be in a better position. Me and you both. People aspire to do that, but I'm here to let people know that it can be done. I'm literally one of the people, and I'm not just talking trash. I'm literally one of the people that feel like if I can do at least a little bit of something, then they can do it too. It's just more of a matter of, kind of putting your mind to it.
You use your platform to build, and that's what I feel like it's supposed to be about with everybody, whoever gets one. You should use better people's lives, better your life, and just better the world, man. So salute to you, man. I'm super proud of you, man, for real.
Man, thank you so much, man. Chad Phillips, remember, follow dude. Follow. The website, you see it there at the bottom, okay? The avantgardis.com. Catch him on the IG. Niles got you, okay? And on the Twitter, at avantgardis as well. Dude, Chad, thank you so much, bro. Got to get you back on here again before you go. But before you go, just to make sure that we still keeping it 1,000 and within the realm of basketball, who do you think that the Minnesota Timberwolves should select in the next 48 hours or so with the number one pick?
Perfect of a point in this interview, okay? We got to go with LaMelo, man. We just got to go with LaMelo, because LaMelo has next level game, And I know, going to Lithuania, like his path was like unorthodox, but that's what makes him so unique, the path that he took and how much he had to survive. And he has serious game, but his flair is going to fill up the seats too. Because a place like Minnesota, we need someone who's going to fill up seats along with who's going to bring the game. So come on, LaMelo Ball, LaMelo Ball, all of y'all come out here.
All the light-skinned brothers come out here. Come out here, holla at me. It's all good, my brother.
You know what I'm saying? So we got y'all though. We got places that we can set y'all at. No Minnesota, Eden Prairie, but LaMelo Ball. Come on home, brother.
Yeah, Minnesota, awesome place. Only been there once. Came from Final Four. I think that was last year. First time that I've ever had. What was it? I think I had elk or something like that. It was pretty cool. A little sausage, a little barbecue sausagey, but it was pretty cool. When I come out there to Minnesota, okay, I'm gonna come out there and make sure I holler at you next time I roll back around. Can't tell you when it is, but I will be back at some point. And when you get out here to ATL, we're gonna kick it.
We're gonna definitely kick it, man. For real.
Chad, man, appreciate you for coming through, baby.
Sean, thank you, brother.
No doubt. In a minute. Absolutely. Right. You as well. Man, that was my dude, Chad, man, coming on with me. And I'm glad that he had that opportunity and that we had some time to make. Let me tell you something. We had stuff that we got lined up with different college basketball and with the NBA draft and high school basketball and all this stuff going on. I got to thinking like, I'm not really sure if I can pull this one off. I'm going to make a way without the shadow of a doubt to make some time for my dude, man, because I'm really happy that of what he's doing in his life and just aspiring to do different things and just keeping God first and so forth. And I can always respect that from somebody, man. So I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Gave you a little bit of a mixture between some music stuff, some motivational stuff to kind of help you on your way and so forth. And of course, some basketball at Georgia Tech. I really appreciate Ken Sugiura as well for coming on with us, beat writer for Georgia Tech men's basketball for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and coming on and joining us. Remember to go and follow the podcast at Tate's Take Hoops, TATESTAKEHOOPS, hashtag where basketball lives. And remember to tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a family member, mamas, grandmamas, any and everybody to follow the podcast. Be sure to subscribe. I can't say it and stress it enough. Anywhere you find your favorite podcast. And look like we will be back. Let's see what the schedule look like for tomorrow, because I got a good feeling on draft eve. We got somebody that's going to be coming on and joining us. Let's see where we are. Oh, perfect. Perfect timing. Samad Hines, a basketball junkie, high school basketball junkie. We're going to pick this dude brain, man. We about to get all over the place with him, because if you Chet Holmgren, Bronny James, Imani Bates, Jaden Hardy, you name it, high school basketball, and you need to know who the next up and coming thing is, he's going to be right there to tell you who it is. That's at 5 p. Eastern Standard Time on tomorrow on Draft Eve on Tuesday. Appreciate you guys for joining us, and I'll see you around this time tomorrow in a minute.